The drama surrounding the endorsement world in women's basketball has taken a startling turn, and at the center of it sits Caitlin Clark, a young athlete whose rise has ignited a corporate storm. Behind the scenes, agents and brand strategists have circled like hawks, and one key figure emerges in this story, Kane, the agent whose profile has grown alongside Clark's. Representing not only Clark, but also A'ja Wilson and Nfisa Collier, Kane is part of a new wave of representation in women's basketball, one where deals are no longer ancillary, but foundational to the sport's future. Kane's resume now includes some of the biggest stars in the WNBA, and Clark's story is now the vehicle through which an entire industry is being challenged. It began as a whisper on dark forums and sneaker podcasts, rumors that internal marketing, documents at Jordan Brand bore Clark's name in a global partnership context worth $50 million. At first, these whispers were dismissed as hype, but the next day they exploded. Social posts, leaked images, trademark filings for Clark Pro, Be Like Her, and Caitlin Clark stamped across threads. Suddenly, it wasn't about basketball alone, it became a pivot point in corporate strategy. Jordan Brand, a dominant force in men's footwear and culture, was being portrayed as ready to bow to the next paradigm now embodied by Clark. At the same time, Nike, her current partner under an 8-year, $28 million deal, watched from a distance as competitors closed in. In a sport where athlete compensation has often lagged far behind impact, Clark's commercial value has become a benchmark. Her rookie year shattered television ratings, filled arenas, and turned the previously modest WNBA pay scale into a footnote. Nike's deal became a headline not just because it was large, it was because it felt almost conservative given what she had already done. And then Jordan Brand entered the picture, reportedly viewing Clark not merely as another endorser, but as a generational face capable of globalizing women's basketball in a way rarely attempted before. The proposal, according to industry chatter, wasn't limited to a signature shoe. It included a full lifestyle line, equity participation, international tours, youth programs, and a campaign built around empowerment and legacy. In short, Clark wouldn't just wear the Jumpman, she would help define what it stood for in a new era. This standoff placed strategic headaches at the feet of team owners and league executives. In Indiana, Steve Simon watched the metrics roll in: merchandise sales, social media dominance, playoff attendance. Clark had turned the franchise into a phenomenon, but if she accepted a Jordan Brand deal outside Nike's umbrella, the team's leverage shifted substantially. A player once built into a franchise risked becoming the franchise itself, redefining where control, revenue, and narrative now rested. The WNBA too felt the tremors. When brands lined up for Clark alone, the league realized it could no longer treat its stars as interchangeable assets. The world was watching one player define the value of visibility like never before. There were complications everywhere you looked. Despite her popularity, Nike hesitated to release her full signature shoe line, drawing criticism that they were under-leveraging what they had signed. Meanwhile, Jordan Brand's interest felt predatory to some, an attempt to poach the biggest face in the women's game from within Nike's orbit. Scouts and analysts pointed out that Clark could not only command financial terms approaching male counterparts, but also force the industry's hand on equal pay questions and endorsement parity. A female athlete moving a proposed $50 million deal in basketball was more than symbolic. It challenged decades of accepted valuations. As negotiations danced in private rooms, players reacted in public and private ways. Some veterans sent fire emojis at the rumors, others quietly weighed the implications. One young player saw Clark's path as proof of possibility, while a veteran wondered aloud how one deal could affect team dynamics, media allocations, and internal hierarchies in a league already operating under elite stress. For Clark's part, she remained outwardly calm. She didn't chase headlines. The headlines chased her, and that silence only amplified her power. In the case of a deal with Jordan Brand, she asked first about creative control, a demand that signaled this would not be a standard endorsement, but a partnership built on voice, equity, and legacy. Then came the numbers. Analysts estimating that Clark generated over $100 million in incremental media value for the league in her first year alone, or that her influence could swell global women's sneaker revenues from niche to global mainstream. A $50 million deal suddenly looked like less than the price of entry. Nike, behind the scenes, convened crisis meetings, trying to determine how to keep her under the swoosh when her star wished to shine on its own terms. Jordan Brand, reportedly less corporate and more cultural, believed they could move faster, think bigger, and give her the platform to stand alongside men's icons. The math may have been clear, but the politics were jagged. Throughout all this, Kane's role ascended. As agent to Clark, the strategy involved not just placement but transformation. Kane didn't simply negotiate a contract. He envisioned a blueprint for athlete-driven brand autonomy, something that female athletes had chased for decades. Clark became not merely the face of women's basketball, but the face of how women in sports might monetize their cultural relevance, claim ownership, and shape the media around them, rather than being shaped by it. This story isn't yet finished. Whether Clark signs with Nike, jumps to Jordan Brand, or bends the market into something wholly new is still unknown. What is known is that her presence has shifted the ground beneath sponsorship deals, marketing departments, league negotiations, and gender dynamics in sport. Because when brands compete for you, control for you, and narrative follows you, you've moved beyond athlete. You become movement. So now we ask you, does Caitlin Clark have the leverage to reshape global endorsements for women athletes? Is this rivalry between brand icons or a watershed moment for women's sports? Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you believe this is the moment women's basketball issued its invitation to the mainstream elite, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that are changing sports culture.